So thank you very much. As he has rightly said, my name is Gideon Alake. I'm here at the University of Florida. I'm actually an assistant research scientist. So my information has not been updated on the website. So I just got in. I just got in a few weeks back, and I've not really had time to update my information on the website. So um, today I will be taking you through some of these topics. The topic is enhancing your scientific presentation skills. So this is a modified version of the original topic, but it pretty much says the same thing. So um, enhancing your scientific presentation skills through creative abstract, PowerPoint presentations, and posters. And I want you to keep I'm going to be asking questions as we go, or maybe at the end of the day, and I want you to catch some of the errors in my presentations. So this is pretty much what I'm going to do. I've added some wrinkles to this PowerPoint presentation that I want you to catch and just write it down. And then when I ask you did you see anything wrong, then you can point me to slide number 1 or slide number 2. Okay. So I would start with the content for today. We are going to just do a more general introduction. We have the abstract part, the PowerPoint part, as well as the poster part. So, you know, so just keep your eyes on the screen, and always, don't forget to kind of mark down some of those errors or some of the things I should have done better in this presentation, but I knowingly did that. So I want you to kind of take note. So we all are communicators, regardless of whatever field of research you're in. You do need to communicate your science to others, or whatever you do to others. And then we use several communication tools or avenue to make that happen. We have scientific journal where you submit your article for a peer review, and then you have conferences as well. You have symposium. You have even social networks like the ResearchGate or academia.edu, where you can actually tell people about what you are doing. And one thing that is very common to most of all these things is the fact that you are often required to provide a summary of your research, right? Before you go to these before you go to these conferences, or maybe submit your article to a journal, you will need probably a summary of your research submitted. So, and another part is that you would likely, in the case of conferences or even seminars or departmental seminars or things like that, you may be asked to give a presentation pretty much similar to what I'm giving right now. So, you are communicator. There's no sitting on the fence on that. So I hope this material kind of helps you uh, get you some of those skills, or so fine-tune your skill to become more effective delivering any of these um, uh, any of your presentations. So um, I want to just go straight to the abstract writing. What is an abstract? What is an abstract? An abstract is just a condensed form or a concise summary of the main points or key elements of a larger piece of work, such as a research paper, an article, a thesis, or even a presentation, or sometimes even what's it called, grants. So many times I write grants, I've had to submit an abstract. So an abstract is just a summary of what you intend to do or what you have done already. In the case of in the case of grants, you haven't done it already, except you've already done some part of the work, and you need to kind of provide like a report, which may be a little different from the abstract. In most cases, you would just pretty much tell them what you intend to do when they give you the money. So um, An abstract kind of touches very much on some of these points that I have highlighted here. What was done? So you have to provide a general background, but really short about your subject matter. So what was done? I have an example of an abstract that I have added to this presentation. I think should be quite obvious and clear when I show you that. So another thing is the reason you are even doing it. So if you don't have any reason, there's no point even doing it in the first place. So you have to kind of state it clearly there in your abstract as well. So your abstract should begin with a brief introduction of your overall problem. If there's no problem, you don't have any solution to give, right? So you need to state that very clearly. And you have your objectives as well, the overall goal of the research, and also as well as your objectives. That so I want to make it a little interactive. Is that permitted? When I ask questions, I will want maybe responses from the audience. Is that permitted, Samuel?
Yeah, that's fine if you want to go that route.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. But
Okay.
again, just to interrupt briefly, we might want to, if you want the questions, I don't know if your interaction just mean, are you
Oh,
asking
okay,
us
okay, okay,
questions
okay.
and then we responding?
Okay,
And
okay. You already
if
have
it's,
questions?
yeah, if we the way we structure it is that at the end of your presentation, the people can ask questions.
Okay,
So,
okay.
but you are free to to carry on with your interactive sessions.
Okay, no
Yeah,
problem. So I
thank
was
you.
just wanted to ask, what is the difference between goal and objectives, right? So goal is like your destination, what you intend, where you are going, and then your objectives is or your objectives are how you intend to get there, right? So they are measurable. So that's just what I want to kind of pull out from there. So another thing is how it was done. What are the methodology? What approach did you use in testing your hypothesis? So you have an hypothesis and you have to say, okay, let me just design a small experiment to test if this thing works or not. And then what is your experiment? Remember, most of all these details depends largely on the requirement by maybe the journal. If you're submitting it to a conference, the conference asks a length, an abstract length that you need to, obey. And sometimes that includes even the title as well as the authors and the affiliations as well. So you have to keep that at the back of your mind. So not too much details, just the right thing that would maybe, if it is a journal article, the right thing that will make somebody want to read your article. So if it is, I remember in a conference, your abstract is just the only thing they know about you, right? Your abstract is the only thing they have about you, nothing about maybe your methodology I mean, they don't have the full detail of what you are doing. The only thing they have about you is an abstract. So you need to make it a little bit more robust at explaining what you intend to do or what you have done already. So the last part is what was the findings? Did you find anything? And how significant is your findings to your current field? So that is what I would pretty much in the, uh, 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 what are the key takeaways from your research? So you need to really put that at the back of your mind. There is what we call a good abstract and a bad one. Okay, a good abstract is long enough to generate interest from anybody reading your article who may want to, okay, let me just give it a bite. You remember, I don't know if any of you have had that experience in the past or not quite long ago, that when you go to conferences, so what you do is you look at the, is it manual or was it called, not manual, the program, and then you look at the different topics, you look at maybe if they have categories of topics, you look at the different categories, and then you look at some of the titles, and then you look at the abstract and say, oh, this talk, I must attend it, right? Has it ever happened to anyone? Yeah, I think it does, because I mean, that's all they have about you. And one of the key things that would make anyone want to keep have you in their presentation is that they have an abstract that is long enough to generate interest from anybody looking at it. So the other side of it is if it is too short, it doesn't contain enough information that would really excite anybody reading your document. So the other one is the structure. It follows the structure of the paper. It has to, of your paper. If you have a paper and if you already published the paper and you want to maybe um, make a, give a presentation, it has to follow that structure as well. You have to summarize the background. You have a motivation for your research. You have the methods. And then you have the results, and then you have your conclusion as well as the impact of your work and how it benefits everyone. So that needs to be stated very clearly. However, for a bad abstract, you jump from one point to another with no clear flow. So that is important to note. So another is the content. This is not an exhaustive list. I'm just giving you the main thing there. So another one is the content. You have to describe or not evaluate your work. So the abstract is to describe your work, not to evaluate or defend your work. You don't have to put too many energy into defending your work. Rather, the abstract is just meant to describe what you have done and describe it in a way that will make anyone want to that pulls everyone towards you. So it is, if you put too much content into it, and even if you have to kind of say somebody has done this before, and at the end of the day, you've exhausted the whole number of words that you require to provide, then it won't make any sense that way. So you have to ensure that it only pretty much describe what you have done. And even if you have to mention anybody's work, then it has to just be minimal. But you have to project your own work. So, and the style should be clear, concise, and carefully written. So it should be carefully, not careful. And then the other side is also if it lacks clarity. Also, it's easy to just drop it if somebody just reads your abstract if it is not clear enough. Um, so I mean, it's important. Yesterday I had a meeting. Just an example, I had a meeting with somebody. I submitted a grant proposal, and it wasn't funded, but they saw the need to just talk to me about why they didn't fund it. So one thing he told me that stood out to me was that it was well written, everything stood out well, and then started from the abstract, right? We started from the title, then the abstract. But the reason why they couldn't fund it was very a local reason, and that is understandable. When I saw that when I was writing the grant, I knew perhaps, okay, things like that. So where I'm going with that is that you have to generate interest in people with how you put out your work. And the best way to do that is to do a summary. In fact, right now, I just got, I'm working on a project. It's a personal project where I downloaded. I want to know what is happening in the field, in my field, pneumology, to be specific, over the past 60 years. And one thing where I went to, instead of downloading the entire journal articles, I just go straight to the abstract. And so far, I've had downloaded almost 500,000 abstracts, 500,000. So I need to go in the abstract. I've already started extracting whatever keywords that I needed in those abstracts, because I know nobody will want to just say anything that is not irrelevant in the abstract, right? They want to go straight to the point. They want to mention the organism. They want to do that. They don't want to do that. So that is why I chose that, and I'm able to have that number of abstract. That would be pretty interesting. So another is the conclusion and your keywords. So if you optimize your abstract for search engines, so the one thing there is you have to use the right keywords, because if somebody searches your work, the first thing that comes out, that helps them get to your work is your keywords. So you have to use the right keywords to optimize your abstract for search engines. So SEO, search engine optimization, right? So you know that. So on the other hand, a weak abstract is just as weak as you can get. It doesn't really generate any, you search, you don't find anything, you hit the rock. So, and then you're in that, the conclusion doesn't really reflect the impact and importance of the work. So and there are too few keywords. Sometimes just maybe one or two keywords that are not even not really telling of what the person has done. So here's just a map of the abstract. Here's just pretty much what I would encourage everyone who hasn't done it before. If you have been doing it in the past and been very successful, I want you to pass it down to as many as you can, because that is a good job you've done already. So one of them is the title. What is the title? You need a title for your abstract, right? How long should the title be? Sometime, and I was submitting a grant and they said it should be only 100 characters. So not 100 words, but 100 characters. I mean, 100 words would be too much. So it should be 100 characters. So which means if your abstract is examining the effect of global warming on the effectiveness of whatever that does that to whatever, that may be too long in that case. So your abstract should be short and descriptive of what you intend to do. It shouldn't be something, one of the things that is very common in most of our developing nations is the effect of, the effect of, the effect of. So now we should be more creative because we have a lot of effect ofs that maybe put a lot of people off. So let's be more creative and be descriptive about what we are finding. If the results of our experiment um, give something new, novel, then we should state it in our title. Okay? Application of this whatever chemical suppressed root knot nematode. That is the title, right? That is more descriptive that uh, 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 assessing the effectiveness of okay, this chemical on suppression of root knot nematode. Does that sound? I mean, so you get the gist, right? So one is if you're at the end of the day, the result is something novel, is something, I mean, why not just state the result in your title? This does this. That is a title that is informative, as informative and descriptive as possible. So, and don't overhype your work too. Don't oversell your work. Start trying to brandish your this thing as if, just make it simple and make it more professional too. Always start with an adjective, a noun or a verb, not an article. Okay, start with an adjective or a noun or not an article like a or an or a d. No, do not end with a punctuation. Use plain text. Do not end with a punctuation because that is not a sentence. Your title is not a sentence, right? So you have to just be very careful how uh, how you do that. So please, Mr. Samuel, just let me know if I'm running out of time. You can just signal by just saying, okay, maybe you can just open and tell me how many minutes I've spent. So I prepare it for like 40 minutes. So just let me know because I talk too much somehow sometimes. So the second one is the authors and your affiliations. List the name of the authors and they have to start with you. It depends if you are writing an abstract, if you are presenting your work somewhere and you are not the first author, sometimes because you are the presenter, your name should also pretty much be highlighted in that case, if possible. So first is you list the names of everybody who has contributed to the work in the abstract. So sometimes the name can be depending on some journals, some papers. Sometimes the names and the authors and the affiliation may be longer than the than the abstract sometimes. So so just to let you know that. And the other one is the body of the abstract. So these are high-level summaries, so you have to keep them simple as possible, but it conveys what you need to convey. And just to let you guys know, and I know Samuel also knew about that, we are experiencing hurricane right now. Just if you lose me in the process, just wait for me to get my internet back, and then I will join you again. Just on a side note. So thank you for that. Um, the abstract, you have to keep it, sometimes general, making it general also helps. And sometimes because of the fact that uh, you are doing the work, the work is not already complete, it's not completed yet. There's a tone of voice that you use to in your abstract, rather than we have done this or this was done this way. You may say this will. So you pretty much provide your details of your expected results. So um, this is an example of one of those abstract that I'm working with right now, of one of the 500K abstract that I'm working with. So what the reason, why I'm doing this is, I want to see, okay, what has happened over the course of the years, how many nematodes these scientists have been working on in the past, and has there been any change? And what are the chemical, a lot of questions that I have had to ask. And so this is one of them. First starts with a title. This is the name of the nematode. Benolimus longicordatus, host status and pathogenicity on sweet potato. That is simple, right? That is very direct and clear. So it's pathogenicity on sweet potato. And then here you start with maybe a little description of what is happening. Zinc nematode is acutely damaging to wide variety or range of crops and relatively common in sandy soils in the southern United States. So, and then it said, despite this, because of this locality, the relationship between the sweet potato and this zinc nematode is not well defined. So that's a problem already that it needs to address. Therefore, the objective of these were to assess the relative host status of sweet potato for sting nematode and the damage potential of sting nematode on sweet potato in repeated greenhouse experiment. So it's a greenhouse, a non-sting, so it gives pretty much what they use in the experiment. And they said in both trials, so these results now, in both trials, field corn supported greater finer sting, soil sting nematode abundances than sunham. So when they use a corn feed, when there is a corn feed and they also say sunham field or sweet potato cultivar. So, I mean, pretty much describing what they found. Based on the average reproductive factor, field corn was confirmed as a susceptible host. See that clearly? Whereas sunham and sweet potato were poor hosts. That is clear. These did not impair the growth of additional information. These results suggest that sunham and sweet potato could be useful. That is clear enough. That is clear enough. And that depends, sometimes the journal may have a way you have to structure that, but I mean, it doesn't really get too far from what we are seeing right here. It doesn't really get too simple from what you're seeing right here. And bringing back this chart again, you see that abstract I showed you just fulfill almost all these things here. One is what they have done, the need for that, and the question they have to ask, and how it was done, and pretty much the significance of the work. So the second part, or rather the third part, is the PowerPoint presentation here. PowerPoint presentation is pretty much I believe everybody has presented something, some kind of PowerPoint, somehow, somewhere. So yeah, I'm not going to teach you from scratch how to do that, but I'm just going to share some of the key things I have learned in the past, and not the details. I'm only going to share just so will I say just 2% of all I've learned, or all I know in PowerPoint, just 2%. So, but I think it should be strong, good enough to get some of us going because of the time. If not, we would have time to. I even had time planned for demonstration but I don't know if that is going to be possible. So let's kick it started. What is a PowerPoint? So, so we have, okay. Okay, so this is a structure. We have a structure of a PowerPoint of a scientific presentation here. You have the introduction. If it is from a research, okay, there are a ton of scientific presentations that you may structure differently, right? So sometimes, like 2 weeks ago, I was invited outside the US to give a presentation, and the topic was just given, AI, metagenomics, as well as computational biology in in early pest detection or pest diagnosis, or diagnostics, sorry. So that was the topic, and I was okay. What do I need to do about this? I went to did a research, and I was able to make a presentation. So that may not follow this kind of format, right? Because that is just a general topic of how those tools can be used for early detection of pests in crops. So so pretty much the general structure is the introduction, the method, the results, discussion, and the conclusion. And you see the points here are clearly stated. So I won't take too much of your time there. An overview. One of the things is you need to plan your outline. If you need to give a PowerPoint, you need to plan your outline. What is the outline of my PowerPoint? So you need to give a draft, go to your Word document, draft it. And if time permits, I mean, maybe in the future seminar webinars, we could demonstrate that how to do that. Actually take your outline, paste it on Word, on PowerPoint, and maybe structure it and start adding contents to that. And yeah, so it must have a defined purpose, and also it must contain the key points that you need to share. The structure, you have to start with a title slide with your name and sometimes some other additional relevant information. And then you have to use a consistent slide layout. So the slide layout, like I've been using, you see, it's been consistent, right? It's been just pretty much the same layout from the beginning up till now. So that makes your work a little more, a little neater, and a little flows a little better. And then there's also, you need to use bullet points if there's a need for visuals, images, which I would encourage you strongly to use. You don't have to, it's also possible to add them. So do not add too much information. If you need, I mean, even this one I'm showing you is it's still a very busy slide. But the way I did it made it a little easier for you to understand without throwing everything at your face, just like that. So the design must be clean and professional. So you have to make it readable, and the font should be readable. Sometimes you have the presentation and somebody just a little distance away from you cannot read it. So that is not, that may not be good enough. So you have to make it such that you can read it. And then you use consistent color scheme. If you look at my color scheme has been this color, this color, this color, and this color all through. So use consistent color scheme. So the next one you need to talk about here is engaging visuals. So sometimes you need to add images, and there is no, now that with the age of AI and things like that, there's a lot of images, so resources for you to capture images and for you to generate high quality charts, um, high quality charts that you can use in your presentation as well. So maybe in future, um, in future webinars, we can also talk about that. I can show you many tools that are free that you can use to generate high quality charts. So another one is this title and the headings. You have to use clear and informative slide titles and heading. So like I said earlier, they have to be clear enough for you to just understand, oh, this is what this title, this presentation or something like that is about. So, and what about the alignment? The bullet points are important. Visuals, such images and graphs also have to be well aligned. They just don't have to be everywhere on your slides, and avoid clutter and information overload as well. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about is backup plan. You are going to a conference. You are doing it. You do everything on your computer. Sometimes you have a lot of animations, a lot of stuff, and a lot of hyperlinks from many sources, and you get to this thing, you copy it, and then you give it to the other person, and then the thing doesn't show. How discouraging or frustrating that can that be? That can be really frustrating. So you have to have a backup plan, save it on multiple locations. Maybe you can use a cloud location to store your Dropbox or your Google Drive, or for some other cloud storage systems. for you to access your information very quickly in case there's any problem. What if your computer broke when you got there and you weren't able to get your PowerPoint from your computer before that happened? So you have to be proactive about that. And then another thing that I would also encourage you, but if you have a lot of animations that may be difficult, is for you to save your presentation as a PDF. That way, if everything fails, you still have something to show, right? So you don't have to swear your head out and say, oh, I swear I have this thing. I know that I have this thing there. It didn't show. It just didn't show, I mean. So you have to be proactive in that. And another thing I want to add is do not take the power out of the point, right? The idea is PowerPoint. A lot of us don't even understand what that means. Points, they want you to put points on the slide, not about points that are powerful enough for anybody to remember that when they just look at it, they'll be able to at least have an idea of what you are trying to talk about. And the points are mainly for you to talk about, not for the audience mostly. It's for you because they point out to help you discuss or talk about your research or give your presentation. So the points are not just for you to start giving to the audience to start reading. No. Remember, do not take the point and the power out of the point. That is very significant. So let's see what happens here. Have you seen PowerPoints like this, where images are stretched and you want to show images, they are super stretched and then they are small, sometimes they are very small. How can you, have you seen it like that? Or you are guilty of that, any one of us have, right? So, so what about this? Does this look a little more, huh? So there's a way you can do this. If you have images from sources, make sure your images are of high quality. And if time permits, I can show you how to get high quality images from even within PowerPoint. There are images within PowerPoint that you can use. They call them stock images that you can use that you don't have to attribute anything. You don't have to, attribute, make any attributions. And the second one is this. You are going to show a chart and your chart is scanty. No, nobody can, someone can hardly even read what you're trying to. So what about this? Why not just split them into two slides? Because this is the chart you're going to show. So why not split them into two charts, into two slides and make your point clearly, as clear as day. You get what I'm saying? So those are some of the things we need to keep at the back of our mind. And one thing that I love about PowerPoint is being able to be creative. This image on the right here, I was able to remove the background just in less than 2 minutes on PowerPoint. 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. I didn't have any software. I didn't use any of this software. But within PowerPoint, I was able to remove the background. So if you have images like that you want to show, you want to remove background, just everything is just right there in PowerPoint for you. What about this? This is the map of Nigeria. I developed this right in PowerPoint in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I didn't have any software. I didn't do it in outside. I just go to PowerPoint, go to map, and then it gave me a distance, just added all the names of these states, and then I got my point. So everything you need is right there in PowerPoint. There's a saying in Nigeria, in Yoruba, that says, what you are looking for in Sokoto is inside your Sokoto. So which means Sokoto is a place, Sokoto is your own trousers, your pants, right? What you are looking for in a very far away is right here in your PowerPoint. So you have to try to make use of that. So see, you can customize it, just do all within PowerPoint. You don't have to have expert knowledge of generating maps before you can do that. So, and I want you to just the pro tips I have is that use pre-built built-in resources within PowerPoint. Like I just showed you the maps and the chart I showed you, they are quite really nice, right? And I bet you if you try it, you'll be able to do something much better than I have done. So sometimes if you have pre-made templates, you can use them or PowerPoint. Another is to use hard hints. I have a lot of hard hints that I use that were able to give me even this pro kind of look of my presentation. So the final part is your poster, which I just have only 2 slides for that. So hopefully that. So are we familiar with this kind of situation? where somebody just move around the rooms, look at your slide, your posters and things like that. So this is important for us to be able to generate interest in people, to keep people waiting, to keep people salivating. We have, besides the content of our research, we also need to have a way, we need a way to be able to present that research as well. So that is very, very significant. That is very important to us. Yeah, so one of the things I want you to just keep at the back of your mind is you have to put put your calculator down, think about very clearly and carefully about what you want to put out there. Make sure you choose a platform, a software to create your poster. PowerPoint is super easy. So I have an example that I'll show you. PowerPoint is super easy. Within an hour, you can create your entire your poster without any help from anybody. So one thing there is make sure you choose the right tool. You have a lot of other tools that you can use, Canva or something. Some other tools can also do pretty much the same thing, even Prexy as well. Sketch your poster first. First, you have to do a sketch, get an outline, and avoid overuse of bright colors. Sometimes you have a contrast that at the end of the day, by the time you print it, everything looks like you haven't done anything. So make sure your color, the contrast between your font and everything show what you are trying to show. If you are showing a picture, make sure the picture is not just doesn't disappear, or maybe your text didn't eventually disappear because of the kind of color you use. Sometimes you use yellow color under something, you see the yellow color doesn't really show in white background, right? So you have to think very proactively what to do in that sense. So make sure your poster is readable from some distance away, not that, that somebody will have to come and stand right in front of it, almost putting his eye right in the distance before they can see what you are trying to show them. So that is the whole objective is for you to show them what you have to offer. And then the best way to do that is for you to make it look appealing to them at the end of the day. So this is an example here. I have this template right here on my computer. So you see, this is a design where I have a title, and sometimes the dimension is completely dependent on or not sometimes the dimension is usually completely dependent on the criteria set by your conference or any other professional meetings that you need to attend. So so the title, then you have the authors, and then you have your introduction. It doesn't have to follow this way, but it could follow this way on something. And if you have results here, you can post your pictures here. If I have a picture here, I can have only one picture here, only one, or maybe two, one here, and that's enough. So yeah. So that's just the end. I don't know if you want me to talk more. I can still talk a little longer than this, but here are my contacts. If you need to reach out to me, if we need to talk about anything. I do a lot of work, and like the work I'm doing right now. I talk about working with abstract, 500K abstract. But I hopefully I may be able to trim them down because there may be a few duplicates and things here and there that I need that do not meet my criteria, but at least I do a lot of those kind of work. And I'm a nematologist. I have a master's degree in nematology, also a PhD in nematology and data analytics. I also work right now with insects. I work with fungi and also do the scholarship things for folks. I've done the scholarship things now. I've consistently for the past 3 years. I've had it for so many years, but I've been very serious with it for the past 3 years. For those 3 years, we've had very nice success story of almost about 12 people coming to the US on fully funded scholarships or for free. I do it for free for everybody, so I don't charge anybody for that. So in fact, I just did one yesterday. So review their document and everything, send it and give lectures every Saturday on how to get your best scholarship. So open for question, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Alake. This is an exciting session, and for me, it's also an eye-opener. I think the next maybe conference I'll be going for, I think I'll be going more confidently because of the lessons I've learned here. So, and I believe it's the same with others, also the participants. It's really an exciting, amazing session. We're just quickly, we'll be opening room for questions. And Frederick will be anchoring that. I don't know if anybody dropped, but I've been checking the chat box. I can't find any question there, but if you have any question, I think you can just signify and then yeah,
Okay.
Frederick will anchor that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I'm Freyu Sodeji, and I'm part of the organizing committee. And first of all, I would like to thank our guest speaker for this insightful talk. I think just a quick summary. I believe that he took us through from abstract to PowerPoint presentation as well as poster, and then let us remind ourselves that this is somehow helping us to for our upcoming symposium, where we will be asked to submit some abstract. We will be doing oral presentation as well as a poster presentation. So I think I like the fact that Dr. Gideon actually managed to bring real life experiences, like what he has experienced about a proposal being rejected and the kind of abstract he was using. So I think those are real good tips we can take on and then be able to deliver a good scientific communication. So without further ado, I didn't see many questions in the chat, but I can read some of them out. So one of them is from Wilfred. He said, thanks for this great presentation. When writing an abstract, is it allowed to use abbreviation or acronyms? So that is the first question, Dr. Gideon.
Yeah, I would say no, because I mean, it all depends. There are some technical terms that you can maybe add that may, if you are writing the name of a drug that is like how many of a compound that is like how many characters long. You get what I'm saying? Dichloro, di whatever, di something, di something. You get what I'm saying? By the time you finish the di, then you would have maybe exhausted even the character limit. So why not just but I mean, if it is a common thing that everybody know, like PCR, PCR is you don't need to say polymerase reaction because everybody knows PCR is PCR, right? If it is something that is unique to your field, I don't think it would be nice if you if you have to add abbreviations. But if it is like something that is a common knowledge, PCR is a common knowledge. Everybody knows what PCR is, right? So you can use PCR or I would really strongly advise against adding any of the acronyms. Okay, if you need to use scientific name, use it completely, use a complete scientific name, use the genus and the species name together. So yeah, it all depends. Conventions differ, but generally acceptable convention might be to not allow that.
So thank you for that. The next question is, I believe, is from Desmond. He say, thanks a lot. No, it's just a comment. Thanks a lot for the presentation. This is insightful. Another comment, very concise and informative presentation. Thank you, sir. So there is, I think, still a comment as a rule of thumb. Is it there? No, this is a question. Sorry for that. As a rule of thumb, is it there a specific number of color to use in making slides? Dr. Gideon, over to you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I don't think there is any rule of thumb, any requirement for the number of specific colors, but we just want to make it appealing. So let's go throughout. If you go throughout my presentation, the colors are pretty much similar. I didn't use too many colors because by the time you use too many colors, you have kind of a rainbow presentation that may not really, bring home the point. The point you are trying to pass across is not the colors. You are trying to put pass across your point, your present. You want to impress people. You want to tell them what you have done, not the colors, right? But the color can make your point stand out so that they can see what you're trying to emphasize. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, so at a point, I think I highlighted something, right? I highlighted something somewhere. Let me just a minute. I highlighted something somewhere. But what I'm trying to show there is because what I was trying to show there is that that it's easy. Just a minute. Okay, so I don't think I'm saying it right now. So, but anyway, okay, here if I highlight something here, the yellow color here makes it stand out. I'm trying to emphasize something here, there, and I'm trying to explain something here. I don't have to now put the next one, I put a red, the next one I put a blue, the next one I put a yellow. So if I'm going to put colors here, maybe 4 or 5 colors to say, okay, introduction, yellow introduction, this one, problem, you know, you want to solve. Then the next color may be materials. It may not necessarily be a different color, but maybe something that is close to this. I might have to even sometimes use um, not a blend of colors. What's it called again? So that means the colors are similar, but you see some are dark. One is darker than the other to know, I mean, to tell the difference. You get what I'm trying to say? So you don't really have to, there's no convention on, okay, this is how many, okay, here. And when you see the highlight that I made here, I still use the color that is common to what I'm presenting here, right? So I will still use a color that is not too different from what I'm presenting here. So yeah.
So just to build on that again, I think there was a follow-up question from Maturin who was asking what font is generally recommended for posters?
Yeah, it depends. I really don't. Why can't I answer that clearly? It all depends. You get what I'm saying? But the point is, you need to use a font that um that is readable. You won't use. You can use Times New Roman, right? For your Microsoft Word, but not on PowerPoint because it looks wonky on PowerPoint, right? You would like to use a font that, sometimes some people use fonts that are, this one will be Times New Roman, this one will be Times New Roman. The font size is 40. This one is what is it called? Or some other fonts. The size 20. This one is some other font size 50. You get what I'm trying to say? So there should be consistency. The most important thing is your points are clear enough for people to see. And in fact, the point here, as I said earlier, is PowerPoint. Is for you, not for the audience. You are telling the audience a story. How can I best remember the story and how can I tell it really well? And the way you can do that is to be able to have points here that will remind you what to say, what next to say, what next to say, and what not to say as well. Oh,
So
somebody has
we
been
have,
raising their hand. So
yes,
somebody has been raising, yeah.
yeah, Promise, I think you can now turn on your mic and ask your question directly to Dr. Gideon.
Okay, thank you so much. Good day. Thank you so much, Dr. Gideon.
No problem,
Your
bro.
presentation was very prolific, succinct and hammer new. What I wanted to even ask is this, I read through your abstract, and I can really tell that a top professional did that. You know, I'm I'm actually a body scientist, and I've come to understand that, to be able to pull an abstract of this nature, of this, I want to use the word um class per se, you know, one most likely would have had a PhD or even a postdoc, if as the case may be, because writing is not something one just gets
No.
to good at it. I was reading through it and I could really see that you were able to capture a whole lot of information with just very few sentences, and you know that's so much technicality, something that one might not really be able to hone without probably a PhD. Even post PhD, I've seen PhD students write, and I'm like, come on, I can do better than this. So I don't know what you have to say about that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Like I would say, writing an abstract is not an art, like presentation. Like me, presentation, I can just look at this and say, okay, but this is my presentation, I need to add this, I need to add that. It's pretty much to me an art than an abstract. Abstract has to do with you actually sitting down and learning something, okay? It requires some skills. So one of the things you need to do is this. First, if you need to write an abstract, okay, go through some of those things that we just talked about here. Okay, let me bring it down here. So here, okay, go through some of this thing. Put it in your this thing. What was done. What was done? So what did I do? I did this. Okay. Why was it done? Why did I do it? I did it because there was a problem with this and this and this. That settles the problem of, okay, there is an issue that you need to address, right? Then you state your objectives. Then how did I do it? I employ this method to do this. And what are my findings? My findings shows that this and this and this, and just using one sentence or two sentences to explain your findings. So just write this in your Microsoft Word and then provide the answers to it. That is already an abstract. Okay, the only thing is now bringing the first one to the second one, blending it with the second one, blending the first one with the second one to the third one with the fifth one to make a complete abstract. So it has to do with you trying to generate an outline first, like this. What necessary background do I need to add that would really be useful for the information I'm trying to convey, that doesn't distract anybody? I'm not going to be too extravagant, to overblow my ego by saying this and that, but I want to still pass the information as clearly as possible. So it's possible. Like you said, I think it takes some time to be able to master that, but I think constantly doing this and writing it this way, practicing it will make you, you will get there someday. But it's important that to know that there is a process, and the process is this: what you want to do, why, and then how you want to do it, and what the result did you find, and what is new about what you have found, what is so interesting about what you have found. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
So, yeah. So thank you so much, Dr. Gideon, for elaborating on those questions. And then there is just I think a request from one of the participants, if you could, if we can get the format of these very slides to use. I like it so much. So I think that is now up to Dr.
Yeah. What I can do, if you need me to, okay, I have a few other, I won't say more than 100 templates. You get what I'm saying? That may fit anything you guys want to do. So if you need anything, just reach out to me. You have my contacts here at the end of the presentation. If it is by WhatsApp or by any of the other means that you want to reach out to me, I can send you exactly the same part. Or rather, I can give it to Samuel, and Samuel can post it to send it to everybody. Or send it to you, Fredu. You can send it to everybody. Yeah. That is fine with me. So, but
sure.
Either way, if they need to contact me, also it's not a bad thing if they need to contact me too. So here's my contacts too. So I'm ready to just give it to you. Just as soon as we are done with this, I can send it out to you guys. I can send it to Samuel, or whichever way you want it to be. The leadership can decide how that should go. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we will keep in touch with you, and for sure there will be a webinar where we send materials as well as the video recording of this webinar to the participants. So I think we are still in touch with Dr. Gideon, and we will share those materials with the participants. So I'm just checking on time, and then I feel like time is no longer at our side. So we would like to stop the Q&A session there. So it has been a very interesting session. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.